Hi, this is Ben Proko with TriFit XT, and I'm going to go over how to climb. This is going to be some in-depth techniques to maximize your climbing on the bike. This is geared more towards time trialing. That'd be like for triathletes, or if you were doing like a longer 40K bike time trial. But it could also be used for like mountain bikers and even like road bike races where you're in a breakaway and you want to get the most out of your time, finish your break, before the pack catches you. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, first, what makes a good climber? All right, one of the main things is going to be the power to weight ratio. If you weigh less and can put out more power, you're going to climb faster than the person next to you. We're not going to really focus on that. That's something you're going to want to get with a coach, and that honestly takes a good amount of time. I'm kind of going for this immediate gratification here, and we're going to work more on pacing. The other aspect here is gearing, and I'll talk a little bit about this, but this itself could be another video. And again, I'm going to focus on the pacing aspect so this video doesn't get too long. All right, some of the poor training techniques I see, because I'm looking on Facebook and watching what other people are doing, and I hear like, hey, we're gonna go ride some hills in Montgomery County or over in Chapel Hill, and the first thing, I was like, hey, well, what's your goal? Well, they don't really have a goal, but they're using it to get ready for a race. So if you're gonna do that, if you want us to go out and have fun, I'm all for that. But if you're trying to get ready for a race and you're really wanting to do well, you should have a goal for going out and doing these hills. And, some will just say, well, I'm doing hill training. Well, what's really your goal? What are you trying to do with this hill training? Are you trying to get better at shifting? Are you trying to learn how to pace the hills? What are you doing? So that's the first thing you need to do. And then next, I want to just go over some of the ineffective things that I see some people say when they're going out and doing their hill training. First, I hear that, oh, I'm powering up the hills. That's gonna make me stronger. Well, the hard thing here is our hills are pretty short, 30 seconds to maybe 2 minutes. I mean, I'm sure, I'm trying to think of where there's a hill that takes 2 minutes. There's a couple out there, but that's not gonna increase your threshold on the bike. Now, if you're a beginner and you're just starting, honestly, doing anything is going to make you faster. So a lot of people get this false sense of something working because they just started and they went into the hills and they're like, yeah, I felt way stronger. Well, honestly, doing anything is going to make you faster at that point. So enjoy that time. It lasts for a little while, but then as you start getting into training a little bit more, you really got to dial in what you're doing if you want to get faster. So powering up the hills, that's not really the best thing to do here because they're just too short. And then you recover on the downside. That works great if you're in Colorado or someplace where the hill takes 20, 30, 40 minutes. That's going to be a great threshold workout. You can even use some longer hills around here that might take 5 minutes, 8 minutes. That would be a good good v.2 max style workout. But most people should be working on their threshold that I see, and especially the ones that I hear them saying they're powering up the hills. The next thing I see that also is not a super effective training strategy, although it has its purposes. The way they're using it this isn't the best application of it, is the low cadence, high force training up the hill. They'll say, I'm doing it for strength training. Well, let's say the hill takes a minute and you're going at 60 RPMs. Well, that's 60 repetitions. That's quite a few reps. That's still kind of endurance training as far as I'm concerned. If even doing 20 or 30 reps in lifting is quite a few. So you have to have a reason for doing it. There are times that I will give high force training with low cadence for an athlete, but it's usually not for hill training because they're going to use the gears that they have on their bike while they're climbing. And also, I don't have it on here, but for most people, and I'm probably saying like 95% and probably more, it's more effective to sit up on the bike while you're climbing a hill. If wind resistance is not a factor, you're climbing at 6 miles an hour and there's not a crazy strong headwind, it's it's beneficial for you to sit up. You're going to be more efficient with your energy production. I'm not saying stand up. Stand up actually goes the other way, but just sit up. That opens up the hip angle, and you're going to be able to climb a little bit more efficiently than if you stay in the arrow position. All right, next thing is the experience level. I've broken this up into 3 different levels. There's the rookie, experienced, and advanced athlete. A rookie athlete is going to be someone new to hill climbing, and essentially they just pace poorly. They go too hard at the beginning of the hill and then die out in the middle and then don't push over the top. They just have an inefficient use of their energy and power. Experienced, that's going to be someone with good pacing efforts, actually are usually very disciplined in their efforts. So I'll show you what the experienced athlete is here, and they're going to be a good rider, and they're most likely using a power meter to achieve what they're doing. And then I'm going to take you to advanced athlete, and honestly, everyone can move from rookie all the way to advanced very quickly with just a few sessions if you really focus on a few things. The advanced athlete's able to achieve the fastest time with the least amount of energy output on a hilly course. They'll increase power appropriately on the climb, but then also back it down at the right time when they're going down the hill. All right, now let's get into some video. This video, I did 3 laps around the Zwift Watopia hilly course. I'm using a time trial bike. On Zwift, you're able to draft if you're using a road bike, or even have mountain bikes and such on here. But if you're on a time trial bike, there's no drafting. There's also no wind. So this isolates those variables to strictly the power I'm putting in, so you can see the differences in power and how it's going to have an overall effect on my time. So my goal on here was to ride at a normalized power of 190 watts for each one of these runs. And I tried to replicate what I kind of seen in the past with rookie athletes, advanced athletes, and even experienced athletes. And down at the bottom here, you'll see, as it covers up a little bit here, but you'll be able to see what my power kind of history was. And blue is going to be like zone 2, green is zone 3, yellow is zone 4, and red will be kind of zone 5 and higher. So let's go ahead and start here. Here's the rookie athlete. They're coming into the hill, they're looking to average 190-ish, but then they come into the hill and they just take off. They're going way past, you see they're hitting yellow, they're going to hit some red here in a second. But here's what many times rookie athletes, they went out and bought a heart rate monitor, and they thought they were going to get all advanced with it. And like, okay, I'm going to limit myself to 130 beats per minute. Well, I'm still under 130 beats per minute, 30 seconds into the climb, and now I'm hitting like 300. And now around this point, I start feeling the effects. Now that heart rate's getting up to, now it does hit 130. And it took 40 seconds to get there. But now, even though I back down to power, it's still creeping up. It's going to take a second to now start coming down. But the problem is now I've really backed off on the power. I'm below my target and now going very slow up this hill. Only 6 miles per hour on I think it's a 7% grade hill is what it says. You can see I spiked up there, definitely burning some matches doing that. A little bit of red in there, lots of yellow, and now I've dropped way down on my power. Just went way too hard at the beginning of it. But the thing is, I didn't feel it for at least 30 seconds. and I still got a couple more minutes. You can see this climb is going to take me 3 minutes and 40 seconds based off what power I'm putting out, and I'm into it. Now the next 2 minutes are just going to be much slower than what I should have been, even though that first minute was probably faster. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go to the cresting of this hill. So this is coming up to the top. You know, most rookie athletes are going to start increasing the power again. It's back up because you're excited to get to the top of the hill, and then here's the next mistake. As soon as you get to the top of that hill, the rookie athlete backs off on the power. And if you stay on the gas for about 10 more seconds, you're really going to help accelerate your bike up to that descending speed. They should already be close to like 30 miles per hour, and they're only at 24, 25. That's going to maximize your time at the higher speeds. But there is a point of diminishing returns, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as we get on to the advanced athlete. So as you crest the hill, you're going to want to stay on the gas until you get up to speed. All right, next one, I think another short hill. This is a shorter hill, but I want you to kind of see those mistakes again. So I'm leading into the hill, doing fine, 190. I start going up the hill. You know, my heart rate well below. It looks fine, but here I'm thinking this is a short hill. It's only going to take a few seconds. I'm hitting 300 watts. Saying, yeah, it's not going to matter. You're going to have to, when you're burning these matches, you're going to have to pay for them at some time. And whether it's at the beginning of the climb, the top of the climb, or sorry, in the middle of the climb, or on the run for triathletes, you're going to have to pay for this effort. And again, here you go back over to the heart rate. I just now got up to 130, and now I'm at the top, and again, I'm making that same mistake where I'm not accelerating through. I'm going down 3% grade down, 4% grade. I'm still only at 22 miles an hour. I should be well above that already. And you can see down here, I already burnt some matches. And you'll see the power is kind of all over the place here. And this is very common of a rookie athlete. And sometimes worse. The longer the race gets, the worse this gets. All right, now we're going to go to the experienced athlete. Now, honestly, the experienced athlete, the way I did this is quite boring. I tried to hold myself as steady as I could at 190 watts. So you can see I'm just a little bit above, a little bit below, but I just held it as steady as I could. And this is what I see with some experienced athletes. They really can hold that power steady, whether they're going up a hill, down a hill, on the flats, upside down, inside out, whatever. They can hold that power perfectly steady. And that's great. That's really good when you can get to that. You see a heart rate staying in check here. It should be staying pretty much the same. Again, if I'm doing this in a race, right now I'm only going 6 miles an hour, I'd make sure I would be sitting up at this point. And I say unless there's some like 20 mile an hour headwind, which you usually don't get that on a hill because the hill's blocking the wind, but you never know. You could have that scenario. So, and that's the only one I think I only have one more for the advanced because it's really kind of boring. You're just going to sit there at 190 no matter what you're doing. All right, and here's the experienced athlete finishing. You can see I've held it down here on the graph. It's been pretty steady most of the time. 16 minutes ago I finished in 17:10, and I'm going to come well below that here by keeping the power perfectly steady. And we'll go over all this at the very end, the time savings versus the power and average power. And now to the advanced athlete. So one of the things the advanced athlete does is they're kind of like a mix between the experienced and the rookie. They're going to increase the power as they go up the hill, but it's not going to be so dramatic as to burn matches. It's getting the most out of your effort. I have numbers I kind of go by based on the percent grade that I try to shoot for. So it takes a little bit of recon, which you should be doing if I'm going to race like in Lubbock or doing something like Oil Man, or if I did Waco. I'd be checking out the grades on the hill to see how much I should increase to get the most out of my efforts. And I say, if you look at the graph on the bottom, I'm just now hitting a little bit of the green, just a touchy yellow in there as I increase the power. And let me see. So yeah, that's the advanced going in there. Say the heart rate stayed down fine for this athlete. Let's go ahead and go to cresting though. And you'll see kind of what, it was almost a shocker to me to see how much it was, the difference here in the time. So my ETA here says 3:18. I'm just going to pause it here for a second. 33 minutes ago, that was my rookie time. So that came in 3:51. Then I did the advanced one, or sorry, the experienced one where they held the power perfectly steady. And at that point, the power was, my normalized power was lower, way lower for the advanced athlete, or sorry, experienced athlete, but yet they climbed at 3 seconds faster. Not bad. But here I'm coming in 3:18, quite a bit faster than the even experienced athlete, and that was by just putting that little bit more power in here. And at this point, I did look at my normalized power, and it wasn't, it wasn't anything crazy either compared to the other two. So this is where that advanced athlete's going to gain a lot of time, but they're really not burning any matches. They're just staying where they need to be. And then you'll watch them as they crest, they stay on the gas. 220, staying there 1% grade, 20 miles an hour, 21, 22. They're going to speed up quickly to where they need to be. All right, now I said I was going to talk about descending. So here's that video. One of my rules of thumb, and I couldn't really see it because my Gamecast little icon was covering up my miles per hour, but my rule is when I get up to about 35 miles an hour in a race, I'm going to go ahead and coast. That's because the speed difference to go a little bit faster starts getting a lot of diminishing returns. And just give you a little bit of quick math on this. 35, let's say I wanted to push it up to 40. That would take probably at least 200 watts going down most hills. That's quite a bit of work versus just coasting. And you're going to go 5 miles an hour faster between 35 and 40. So 5 miles an hour is quite a bit faster as far as speed goes. If someone passes you going 5 miles an hour faster, they pass you pretty quickly. But something you want to look at is the time savings, not just the speed. The time difference between 15 to 20 miles an hour is a minute per mile. If you go 15 miles per hour, it takes 4 minutes to cover a mile. If you're going 20 miles per hour, just 5 miles an hour faster, it only takes 3 minutes, so you save a full minute. Now let's go up to 35 and 40. 35 miles an hour to 40, you're still, it's the 5 miles per hour faster, but you're only covering a mile 13 seconds faster. So even though that person's gap may look like they're getting really far ahead of you, you're going 35 miles an hour, you're covering that distance very quickly. And that's over the course of a mile. Many hills you're going to go down are probably going to be much less than that. So let's say it's a half a mile. Well, and this little section here was way less than that. So a half mile, you're only saving 6.5 seconds. I don't think that's worth it to put that 200 watts out to just save 6.5 seconds. You had that benefit of climbing significantly faster, save a little bit of energy coming down, and that's where that give and take kind of comes with this. So that's kind of my little thing, because I'll see people really like, you got to stay on the gas all the way down, 40 miles an hour. They want to have a big ring, like a 56 tooth big ring, so they can go 40, 45 miles an hour down a hill. And that's great if you just want to go that fast down the hill, but again, when you're looking at long course, in trying to save time. And even if this were a sprint try, I'd be doing the same thing because I could make those 6 seconds up very quickly on the run, just being a little bit fresher. All right. So let's go ahead and see how much faster were these different runs. The rookie athlete, average power, that's just taking the average of what the power was. Normalized power is an algorithm that figures out kind of what's the metabolic cost. How hard really was it on your body? Because I was having those power spikes back and forth with the average power, my normalized power is going to be higher. Because everyone knows if you do a whole bunch of sprint efforts, you're going to be a lot more tired than if you just rode a steady pace. So that's where that normalized power kind of comes in there. Now let's take a look at the experienced athlete. I really tried, I was hoping I could have these two numbers the same. It's really difficult to do, to have your average power perfectly in line with your normalized power, but nonetheless, I had 1 more watt on there. And to just give you, for the speed that you're going at on Zwift, and this was a 5.7 mile course. It had 100 meters in elevation gain. 1 watt is only going to save you about 1 second per 5 miles. So if you want to take 1 second off this time saving, that's fine. There would be 22 seconds. But this is a full 22 seconds faster with virtually the same effort over just 5.5 miles. Now, this is a pretty good athlete to do this. You're definitely riding with power to have this be this close. Let's take a look at the advanced athlete. I was able to get that normalized power back down to 190. And like I said, it's kind of in between average power for the rookie and experienced athlete. But you can see there's another 14 seconds gained by just putting the power in the right place, and a full 37 seconds faster than the rookie athlete. Now, what's that come out to for like a half Ironman in Ironman? That over just a 70.3, that's going to be over 6 minutes faster. And I could almost bet you that this athlete here is also going to overpace. They're going to go harder at the beginning of the bike than what they should because they're not using a power meter. And these numbers are even going to be farther apart. So instead of 6 minutes, it's probably going to be 8 or 10 minutes faster. And over the course of an Ironman, that's going to be at least 12 minutes faster. And that's with the same amount of effort. And then if you really get technical here, you could say, well, because this person's finishing 6 minutes faster, they could actually go a little bit harder, maybe 191, 192 watts, because they are finishing faster. And this is all stuff that people can do just by knowing how to use your power meter and go out there and practice a few times, practice cresting the hills, practice not going too hard at the beginning of the hill. And I say, if you want to try keeping it perfectly steady, that might be a good spot to kind of start. See if you can keep it perfectly steady first, and then move to throwing a little bit more power, not too much more, on those climbs. So I hope this was helpful. That's kind of the goal. And you know, we've had some crazy virus stuff going around, but you know, when you have your next race, if you have some hills, it'd be great to use this strategy here. I can be found at HoustonTriathlonCoach.com. I do coaching, testing, camps, races, and probably more. I don't know. I seem like I try to do more than what I should, but I'm really trying my videos here and trying to help some people out. You can find me at benproco@hotmail.com. Our Facebook is TriFitXT. And you know, if you want some more of these videos, let me know. I'll gladly make them. I love sharing the information out there. We could go over some of the next ideas I have. I already did one on power, a 3-part series on power. I'll put those links below on this one in the comments. But you can also, you know, possibly best upgrades or how to manage / avoid burnout. That could be a big one with more recently Ironman Texas being postponed. So just let me know if there's any topics you would like me covered. It doesn't have to be these right here. It could be just something else that's kind of on your mind here. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was beneficial. And, keep training, keep it fun, and we'll catch you on the next one.